2025 WWE Survivor Series goes down this weekend, which means it's been 2 years since CM Punk returned, which means time is going well too fast. But you know the deal. We have to sit down and try and figure out what's going to happen at the show, and make sure you let me know what you think in the comments below. And if someone gets every single prediction right, we just do the dance of joy and we send love their way. And when it comes to 2 War Games matches, I doubt it's going to be cut and dry. There's probably going to be twists and there's going to be surprises. So we're going to get into those too. So sit down, prepare yourself, maybe get a lovely drink. Let's go. Also, I want to say thank you very much to NordVPN, who do indeed sponsor today's video. Nord have been super cool with the channel, which I massively appreciate. And if you don't know what a VPN is, it essentially reroutes your internet traffic through a remote server and keeps prying eyes away, allowing you to encrypt your data so you can stay protected. But also, when it comes to the wrestling world, if there is a particular service you would like to use, well, maybe a VPN is going to be able to help you with that. Happy to tell you as well, because I would never promote a product that I don't use myself, that I do use NordVPN, and it's super easy to use, and there are instructions when you do set it up, but you won't need those. I'm pretty sure it's intuitive enough that you will be able to figure it out. And of course, if you're not happy with your service, Nord offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, but I would be surprised if you did use that. And look at it this way, right? You're traveling around the world, you still want to watch your wrestling, a VPN is going to allow you to do that. And if you just want to watch something like Survivor Series in the way you want to watch it, well, NordVPN is going to allow you to do that too. Given that I have teamed up with Nord, you can click the link in the description below. There's nordvpn.com/Simon Miller, and if you click that, you're going to get a few months free. And it's the best possible way to afford it or to keep the money down, which is a very funny way for me to say it, but it works out like a few dollars a month. So I highly recommend NordVPN. I think you should give them a go, especially with the Survivor Series coming down this weekend. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave the rest out there in your brains. Go support Nord, see if it's for you. Onwards with the video. So we'll begin with the Women's War Games. I think this is what WWE is going to do. They usually do 1 War Games at the start and 1 War Games at the end. Otherwise, you have 2 War Games back to back, and that would just be way too much to me. You know my feelings with this as well, if you watched my content before. I would love to live in a world where you get 1 War Games a year, and if the women's story benefits it, do that, and the same with the men's, and for Blood and Guts and AEW. I only mention that because people are going, well, you wouldn't say the same thing about AEW. Yes, I would. And I would say the same thing about WWE, because I'm not a tribalistic maniac. But it is Nia Jax and Last Legend, still the strangest team. Becky Lynch and the Kabuki Warriors, which is a pretty badass fivesome, as is the babyface team, because it's Rhea Ripley, it's Io Sky, it's Alexa Bliss, it's Charlotte Flair, and it's AJ Lee, which is kind of hilarious, because AJ Lee has returned after 10 years away. She's been in a multi or mixed tag match, right, which you rarely see in WWE, and now she's in War Games. Like, that is such a one from the other in terms of intensity. I mean, it is going to depend on what you do in the men's match, mostly because usually what happens is one heel team will win, and one babyface team will win. But there's just so many random elements to the heel side, e.g. Nia Jax and Last Legend, that just kind of feel like they've been thrown together because we needed 5 extra people. I don't know. I mean, the Kabuki Warriors are the tag team champions. War Games kind of totally made you forget about that, which is a shame. And Becky Lynch being in there is huge. I mean, you could have it where Becky Lynch pins AJ Lee, and that kind of kicks off that feud, because then technically AJ Lee has got her loss at WrestlePalooza. Sorry, got her win at WrestlePalooza, then she loses here. It's more interesting now because Becky Lynch is not the IC champion. That's what I thought was going to happen. I think I still lean this way. I think it will be AJ Lee getting the pin over Becky, because that's the biggest story coming out the other side. Unless somebody turns heel, which I'll talk about in just 1 second. And then, you know, AJ Lee can be like, I beat you, Becky Lynch. And then I can't imagine Maxine Dupree is going to hold that championship for very long. Becky Lynch probably gets it back. And then you start off that feud properly, and Becky Lynch can probably win the first match then via shenanigans or via by, you know, some sort of, you're a terrible person, Becky. I can't believe you did that means, because then AJ Lee can get her rematch and probably won the IC title. And then when you actually look at the win-loss record, technically, once again on paper, it'd be AJ Lee wins because of the mixed tag. AJ Lee beat Becky Lynch in War Games. First 1-on-1, Becky Lynch wins, but again, big asterisk next to it, and then you move on. You could do that. At the same time, we have to talk about Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now, somebody brought this up on our fan predictions that we did on Friday, so check that video up as well. But some of the stuff Alexa Bliss has done, I think it's just WWE storytelling. I don't think they've thought about this. WWE just does weird stuff sometimes. But the promo that Alexa Bliss cut on Raw, where she basically gaslit Charlotte Flair, tricking Charlotte Flair into having a conversation with Rhea Ripley, which Charlotte was not prepared for, and kind of emotionally manipulating her, a la the Tribal Chief, into the War Games. I thought it was weird at the time. You could just ignore this and move on, of course. But if Alexa Bliss did turn heel on Charlotte Flair and you kick off that feud, I do think you've planted some seeds. Now, I don't think that is the case. I just think somebody, rightfully so, went, we probably can't have Charlotte and Rhea just team up, given their history, so we kind of fast-forwarded through all of that. But I wouldn't be as surprised as I would have been now, with that information in my brain, that Alexa Bliss could turn heel, and of course, if you turn heel in the match, the bad guys would have to win. And Alexa Bliss doesn't have to do that to then go and join anyone on the bad side. She could just do it because she hates Charlotte Flair. However, I actually think that's more likely to happen in the men's, so I'm going to push that to one side and say that's not going to go down. You will get a lot of interaction between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss and the Kabuki Warriors, because we'll probably do that rematch as well. But at the same time, you have the Rhea Ripley Io Sky tangent, or whatever you want to call them, duo, and they're probably going to go after the tag team titles too. So that's another issue you could come up with. Do you have Rhea pin an Asuka or pin a Kairi Sane? Because then on Raw, and all companies love to move on from these stipulation matches so quickly, they could be like, oh, hi, we got a pin over you, Kabuki Warriors, and you basically do exactly what I just said with AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, but you do it for the tag titles instead. Can argue that Lash Legend and Nia Jax are going to be a tag team as well, so there'll be some pairing off there. But you see what we can do coming out the other side, right? AJ Lee and Becky Lynch could be a feud. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors could be a feud, and of course Alexa and Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend, especially because they're on SmackDown, could be a feud as well. If this is kicking off the show, I think the babyface is going to win. I think the AJ Lee story is probably not necessarily the best one, but it is more of a one-on-one thing, whereas the rest are tags. Io Sky, of course, will do some kind of moonsault off the top in a bin, or maybe it's going to be some kind of other splash. That's become a thing now. It's almost become tradition when it comes to Io Sky, so she's going to do that. It'll be bloody, it'll be gory, it will be all over the place, and I don't think it will be as blood-filled as maybe what we've seen on AEW shows recently, but they'll probably lean in that direction, because it's the one time of year WWE does kind of feel like they need to be more gruesome, I suppose, than usual. And that's good. I'm glad that both these companies present their wrestling in a different way. Otherwise, life would be really, really boring. But yes, I'm going to go with my AJ Lee, Becky Lynch plan. I just think, especially because AJ Lee has been away for so long, I think she needs to come in, blaze of glory, and get a big pin so that we can get to the promos and we can get to everything else. And maybe that's why Maxine Dupree won the IC title too, because AJ and Becky Lynch backstage have talked and said, how can we level someone up here? You know, who can we try and bring up to our level? And they picked Maxine Dupree. I know every time you say that, people go, well, she's not ready, she's really green. Well, she's only going to get better by working with people like this, right? Two of the best. I think you could probably say two of the best in their own field at the time. I mean, AJ Lee was certainly on top in 2014 or whatever it was, and I think Becky Lynch had a great year. I think Becky Lynch is one of the wrestlers of 2025, but we will talk about that on a video down the way. I'm going for the baby faces. I'm going for AJ Lee pinning Becky Lynch, especially because, my last point, the heels have all been like, oh, you can't get along, you're not friends. I think that Nia Jax and Lash Legend are going to fall out with everybody, because in terms of heels, they're like the asshole. They're like the asshole heels, and usually when you're the asshole heels, you'll make a mistake or you'll do something dumb, and you'll probably do something to Asuka, and she'll be like, how dare you do that to me, and she'll whoop each other's ass, or everyone's ass. Do not pin Asuka. That's all I'm saying. That we need to have so many one-on-one feuds with her in 2026. She should be protected better than my hairline. Going for the baby faces. Going for AJ pins Becky. Now, we're also getting Nikki Bella versus Stephanie Vaquer. Now, if I go by what I've read on social media, or at least some of the opinions being thrown my way, people would be astounded. Somebody said, in no world, in no universe, in no reality is Nikki Bella going to win. I think Nikki Bella should win. Nikki Bella has just turned heel. Forgive me for going back to my old pet peeve, but if somebody does change their moral stance to pro wrestling and then loses, that's it. You're done. You look like an idiot. She has done this because she wants to win that world championship, because she feels disrespected, because she feels like she's Stephanie's sidekick. If all of a sudden in the first match you lose, it's like, okay, so not only are now you a dickhead because you're not a nice person, but it didn't even back you up with success. Stephanie Vaquer's Raw title run at the moment has been a bit not bad. That's way too strong. And Stephanie Vaquer quite clearly is not only a star of the future, she's the star of now. She's only going to improve, but it's not lighting the world on fire. She's not getting knee deep into any feuds. So one thing I think we can do is give her a proper program, and doing that with Nikki Bella throughout the end of the year and probably going into the Raw Rumble when Stephanie Vaquer can win it back is totally fine. That belt at the moment doesn't sort of scream, oh my gosh, it's the most important thing ever. And I actually think Stephanie Vaquer on the chase, because she is so endearing and she is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Or just pleasant when she cut promos, because she tries so hard. That's going to build more sympathy. That's going to build more fan momentum. And then you can go on from there. And also Nikki Bella being a heel champion the end of 2025 into 2026, in what I believe is her last run. I think she said that the other day. She may have signed a 4-year contract, though, so it could go on for ages. I like it. And, of course, she can cheat. She can do something so dastardly. Now, I am copy and pasting a lot of my booking for the Survivor Series, but WWE has done that throughout 2025, where matches will have very similar finishes. So clearly they're not going to be worried about it. So when I'm trying to predict stuff, I'm going to use the information I have in my brain to try and dictate the future. But I'd absolutely have Nikki Bella win, and she can use a weapon, or Brie Bella can come back. There you go. We like doing crazy predictions on these shows. Brie Bella can come back, and she can be a bad guy, and she can help her sister screw over Stephanie Vaquer. Then Stephanie Vaquer can go get a friend. Who the flub would that be? I can't even think right now. Somebody, anybody, and you can do a bunch of tag team matches too before you get to the big reveal or the big title match where Stephanie gets it back. All that's good. And the only thing that would worry me there, old school, if you watch my content for a while, if Brie Bella comes out to that Brie mode, which melts my brain, I will have a problem with it, but we can talk about it at the time. Do I necessarily think that's going to happen at Survivor Series? I would say I'm 50-50 on it, but I'm 80-20 that Nikki Bella is going to win. And even if you're not going to bring a Brie Bella, you can use a chair, you can use a kendo stick. They love those. You can use a table, you can distract the referee, you can expose the turnbuckle, you can do a most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up with your feet on the ropes. Stephanie Vaquer can easily come onto Raw post-Survivor Series and go, you screwed me over, supposed legend, supposed human that opened the door for women's wrestling, etc., etc., which Nikki Bella certainly did help with when it came to Total Divas. I do not see the upside of Stephanie Vaquer winning, because then the feud has to be done. If Stephanie Vaquer beats Nikki Bella, and then we get to the Saturday night's main event, they probably won't do a match there, the Raw Rumble, and they have a rematch, I'd be like, why, Stephanie? You're the champion. You did away with her. She also screwed you over. Why would you keep giving her opportunities? I find that totally mad. I find it totally weird. So I'm quite confident on this, which means I'll be totally wrong, and you can laugh at me come Saturday, which will be fun. I think Nikki Bella wins. There's a potential she does it with Brie Bella. There's a almost 99% assurity that she will use a weapon of some sort. She's not going to do this clean, and hopefully that just sort of cements Stephanie Vaquer as a better babyface. She chases, she wins it back at the Raw Rumble, and then you can start building her WrestleMania match with whoever wins the Raw Rumble. Right now, I have no idea who that could be. It's too far away. Though not really, like a couple of months, but even now I need a lot of information before I can make that call. But I'm rarely confident with my predictions. I'm not really confident to say the least. But I think Nikki Bella has to win. I think it'd be mad otherwise. I'm going with Bella. Now, yes, you probably figured this one out. John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the IC title. Why was I just talking about copy and pasting? Because I think Dominic's going to win in the same way. I do not understand why you would redo the match unless Dominic is winning. Like, nobody even came up with Dominic's name. There was a period where everyone thought this match was going to happen at the Survivor Series, round number 1. We then did it on that Raw. It was awesome. It was excellent. The right thing to do. John Cena winning that belt made you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. But then when we found out that John Cena was still wrestling at the Survivor Series, not many people mentioned Dom. He was going to be in the War Games. Maybe we'd do something with a Joe Hendry who'd mentioned John Cena's name. Maybe there'd be something with a tournament. But no, it got announced pretty quickly that it's going to be Dom versus Cena in the rematch. Why beat Dominic Mysterio twice? I don't think that gives him anything. It's actually better if you only do the one and done, and then Dom walks around going, stupid John Cena, I can't believe he did that to me. If I got him again, I'd show him. He loses the ability to do that if he gets beaten twice, because then anybody can retort saying, bro, he totally ruined you. You suck. And also, I think Dominic Mysterio getting a very ridiculous win over John Cena would be awesome, because of all the characters on the roster, he is someone that could totally use it. Now, he's not going to be the last guy, and I think if John Cena does lose his last match, you build, again, an entire career saying that I defeated John Cena. But now I'm starting to lean towards the fact that John Cena is going to win his last match. Let's say it is Gunther, right? He can beat Gunther. Gunther is a superstar. It's not going to matter. But given where Dominic is in the company right now, and given within 18 months to 2 years, I think he should be a world champion. That's how good I think he is. If you allow him to beat John Cena, not only does it extend his heel run for a little bit, which I think would be of benefit, he's going to be a babyface, but there's no rush with this. He can talk about that and wind everybody up and get even more heat, but it's going to send a huge message to everybody that the last person to beat John Cena was Dominic Mysterio, and then we kind of get the best of both worlds. John Cena has put somebody over in order to send them further up the ladder, but he also wins his last match. We can all cry and be happy and be like, John, you were my childhood and you're the best person ever, and we don't have to go home sad. That's why I think wrestling is different. I did a video about this as well, why John Cena should win his last match. It's not really about putting people over anymore, otherwise the business is going to collapse, because the wrestling industry now operates in very different ways. You want to make somebody, and I think you can do that and send us all home happy, like I say, on December the 13th. So I think it would be crazy if Dominic Mysterio didn't win this. He then has the IC title, meaning if John Cena does win in December, you haven't got to do a tournament because he has to retire the belt or anything like that. it's already gone back to Dominic Mysterio. I would like to see the Dominic Mysterio. We'll call it the Dominic Mysterio belt. I would like to see the IC title defended better in 2026. Dominic was awesome with it, but I think he needs some proper in-depth feuds, which actually what this John Cena thing is. Don't forget the start of the year after he won it at WrestleMania. He was just wrestling shapes. He wrestled Octagon, he wrestled Pentagon, then he did nothing with it for ages. Now it's got good again, so let's try and shine a bigger spotlight on it next year. But I don't see any problem with John Cena once again getting screwed over. Maybe somebody else gets involved here. Maybe Liv Morgan comes back and screws over John Cena. I think that would be difficult because you'd want the payoff, which you're never going to get. But I think Dominic Mysterio can cheat in the worst way possible. Cena can sell it in his face like, I can't believe that kid did it to me. But then because he wins his last match on December 13th, we all forget about this, apart from Dom, who can then use it again, just become an even bigger superstar than he already is. I think the match is going to be awesome. I think the match is going to be fun. I think in many ways they're the perfect counterparts to each other, especially given the Rey Mysterio connection. And I also think Rey will be involved in this. I think Rey will be so horrified by what his son has done, that then kicks off the Rey versus Dominic feud, which is why they had that face-to-face a few weeks ago as well. I would let Dominic Mysterio beat John Cena. I would protect, for lack of a better term, John Cena as much as possible. They then do go their separate ways simply because John Cena's ran out of time. John Cena wins his final match, and again, it's just lovely feelings in your Tootsie Toes, and I don't have a problem with that at all. Now I'll be totally wrong and John Cena will win, but I'm going with Dom, and this is like a Nikki Bella one. I feel pretty good about it. I can't believe that WWE is going to be announcing too many other matches this week because, I mean, the men's War Games and the women's War Games will be an hour, and they love adverts, that's half an hour. So we've only got sort of a while to, sort of half an hour or so to get the last two matches in. So yes, men's War Games is Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar, which is kind of ridiculous, versus Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and the Usos, which is also ridiculous. It is so hard to pick this because CM Punk will not get on with Roman Reigns and those two won't get on with Cody Rhodes. I think it's important. There can be a kinship there, but ultimately they all have to be like, we want to be a world champion, and therefore they should be at loggerheads for a little bit to it. But I went back and watched that exposition SmackDown when Jimmy Uso just walks in and goes, oh, hello, I have spoken to CM Punk and I'm now in the War Games. Jey Uso is not happy about this, unless he got his facial expression totally wrong, which could be the case. And when we did the fan predictions on Friday, the number one prediction I got was Jey Uso turns heel. Jey Uso turns heel. I don't know whether turning Jey Uso heel is a good idea. I am in two worlds with it, only because, and it depends how you see him, there is a very loud part of the internet wrestling community that does not like Jey Uso anymore. Fans still go crazy for him in the building. I love him. I think he's great. I'm a huge supporter of his. So which of these sects do you listen to? And also what makes the more interesting storyline? Going back to Jimmy versus Jey is going to cause an uproar, given what happened at WrestleMania 40. People still talk about that match. But I think it all depends on what you want to do in 2026. I don't know how much I agree with this. I mean, I understand he's not involved in the War Games, but I think LA Knight turning heel could be more interesting, but then people are super behind him as well. The point is, when you look at the bracket at the moment, I could be totally wrong about this, it does feel like LA Knight and Jey Uso are on a clash course with each other, and the final could even be Jey Uso versus Gunther. But LA Knight and Jey Uso have been at each other's throats for a while as well. So could Jey Uso win there, and that sets off LA Knight? Could we see LA Knight in the War Games because he runs down and does something? I would not say it was a total no. I'm 50-50 on that, but it all depends what happens in the Cena tournament, which we'll find out over the next few days. Also creates a way for the bad guys to win. I think another way to look at this is that, I know Brock Lesnar's in it, but Brock Lesnar, for goodness sake, he's Brock Lesnar. It's totally irrelevant. I think Bronson Reed or Bron Breakker has to get the win here. I'd love it to be Drew, but I'm tired of beating that drum. It would really be great if Drew McIntyre could pin Cody Rhodes. But then what? You do a third match and Drew loses again? Nah, I'm done with that. I don't think we need to do it. But Brock Lesnar does not need to get a pin, right? Even if you're going to do CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, there's easier ways to get there. Bronson Reed getting a pin would be awesome, but I think he got the big win over Roman Reigns, so you don't need to do that there. Drew McIntyre, we've just talked about. Logan Paul, no, not interested. Whereas Bron Breakker, ever since he speared Seth Rollins, has kind of not fallen under the radar, but not in the John Cena the last time is now tournament. No massive wins, whereas Bronson Reed has got both of those. So I think Bron Breakker has to pin CM Punk. I think that needs to be the finish. So Jey Uso turning heel would allow you to do that, because CM Punk would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And after Jey Uso has smacked somebody on the face, this is why I like LA Knight turning heel, as I cut myself off. If LA Knight comes out there and smacks Jey Uso around because he doesn't like him anymore, Is that even a heel turn? I don't know. Not if you planted the seeds, because we know those two hate each other. But if all of a sudden LA Knight then goes pap and he smacks CM Punk in the face, then most people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then Bron Breakker gets involved. I'm not saying LA Knight joins division, not saying that at all. I'm just saying that spins off Jey Uso and LA Knight. You also, somewhere in the chamber, keep CM Punk versus LA Knight, and we can go into Bron Breakker versus CM Punk, which I think we should just do. What are we waiting for? I don't mind CM Punk losing that title before WrestleMania, because then it opens up the door for Cody versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. And that is what I think that we should do. So Bron Breakker getting the pin and being not the last man standing, but the most important man standing, I don't think is an argument that we can have. Well, there's an argument to be had, but from my vantage point, I think we need to do it. But we also have the Austin Theory red herring, if we're going to call it that. His name was mentioned a lot in the build-up to this match, not just by the places like the Wrestling Observer, but all over the shop. It sounds like Seth Rollins' injury derailed that a little bit. So could he come in and be the outlier? Now, Logan Paul is not going to stay in the vision. Drew McIntyre is not going to stay in the vision. I don't think WWE, ironically, has that vision for them. But an Austin Theory does need to be in something like that when he comes back, I think. I still think Austin Theory should be a babyface. I think that's why he hasn't really connected in WWE at the moment, because we keep pushing him as a heel. And when you see him in real life, he's a bit of a goofball, which I mean is a compliment. That's obviously better on the good guy side of things. But if WWE is determined to keep him on the heel side, you absolutely could use a new proper member for the Vision, because they lost Seth Rollins. He's not going to be the leader. I think Paul Heyman's essentially the leader now. But you also then have this kind of like half evolution idea where Bronson Reed is the future and he's beating Roman Reigns. Bron Breakker is the future and he won the War Games and probably is going to be champion in 2026. And then Austin Theory has been the potential guy for a long time now, hence why he beat John Cena at WrestleMania 2. So we're going to try one more time and see what goes down with that. So I am pretty certain the heels are going to win. I'm pretty certain it's going to be the Bron Breakker show. I'm pretty certain that Austin Theory is more likely than anybody on the babyface side turning heel. So in terms of my official prediction, I'm going to say that Austin Theory does get involved, especially because WWE loves to do surprise at the Survivor Series and in War Games. They've done that a lot. And I think you'll get a lot of pairing off here as well. Do not go back to Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar WWE. I know it did great YouTube numbers, but we don't need to see it again. We've seen it over and over. I do think CM Punk and Brock Lesnar may have something. Maybe I'm getting... it could be with Cody Rhodes as well. I mean, Randy Orton could come back too. That's another thing we talked about on Friday. Does Randy Orton come back? But if Randy Orton comes back, what does he do? He drops Cody with the RKO. I feel like there's a lot going on. You don't need to do that. You can hold it off till SmackDown. After the weekend, now on the Monday, I'm less... not enthused. I'd love to see it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I can't see it in my mind's eye. I can see WWE doing something with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, given that Cody shouted on SmackDown, "Who was the last guy to beat you when you were here?" I don't know what you do with Brock. This is why I think we need to come up with something new for his character. I don't want to say it's dull, but I do feel a bit like we did this 10 years ago. Why are we doing it again? And of course, Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns are going to get into it. Roman Reigns is going to do something massive to Bronson Reed because he has to get revenge for him winning the Australian street fight, mate. And then maybe we even get a proper rematch for them on a Raw or SmackDown or a Raw Rumble. I'm going with the heels, and I'm saying that Bron Breakker pins CM Punk, and I'm saying that Austin Theory gets involved as well, which is a lot. I'm overbooking this, but it's also a War Games, and it's going to be crazy. I think it will be excellent. I think everybody in there, in terms of star power, it has to be one of the biggest ones, surely. Like, I mean, Roman Reigns, you can argue, is the face of the company. Cody Rhodes, obviously, right up there too. CM Punk, if he's not alongside them, is the rung below. I'm talking about like this tiny much, and they do portray Brock Lesnar as that sort of level too. I don't know. It's going to be massively interesting. I think it's going to be really, really good on both sides for the women and the men's. But if Bron Breakker doesn't come out of this feeling like the man ready for 2026, and as far as we know, this is the last proper pay-per-view before we get to that year, I don't know. I don't see Roman Reigns get a pin. It's Roman Reigns or CM Punk or Cody Rhodes. They got titles. The Usos kind of felt like they're doing their own thing. And again, Bronson Reed's already had his moment, and the rest don't need moments. It has to be the Bron Breakker show, right? The BBS. That's what I need to see. And he needs to ping us. Or you can pin Roman Reigns, actually. Let me throw that in there before I finish my ranting and raving. If you are building to Bron Breakker versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, where Bron Breakker's going to win, that's cool too. And also, if you want to do Bron Breakker versus Brock Lesnar, have Bron Breakker spear Brock Lesnar here, right? Have him kick his ass, and then he beats him at WrestleMania as well. I'll take that. Essentially, it's Bron Breakker time. And if it's not Bron Breakker time, we've gone totally nuts. Heels win. So, once again, I can't believe there are going to be any other matches, but if they sneak one in there, I'll make sure I drop a comment down below once we do know after Raw and SmackDown. The SmackDowns have been filmed, and I'm not going to do the spoilers, obviously. I don't think anything comes out the other side, but I could be wrong. Now, Please do let me know your predictions because they're way more important than mine. You're also smarter than me, as you prove every single month. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my thoughts from SmackDown, which was a very interesting show. Otherwise, yes, nordvpn.com/Simon Miller. Go sign up today, get yourself a deal, and watch wrestling in your own way. That's all I'm going to say about it. Patreon.com/Simon316 for my watch-alongs. We did John Cena, Bryan Danielson yesterday from SummerSlam 2013. Love that match. Otherwise, Simon316 come tell me I know nothing about professional wrestling. We've done Patreon, we've done Cameo, we haven't done Cameo. What am I talking about? Cameo, TikTok, Simon Miller, Pro Wrestling Tees, Simon Miller. Search my name and follow me as much as you dare, which is a weird threat. I didn't mean to sound that way. Enjoy the Survivor Series, enjoy professional wrestling, because it is the least important of the most important things. Other way around, this is why you don't stay up for AEW pay-per-views. I'm a total mess. See you soon.